it's a question I ask to everyone, so I wanted to make sure I asked you this. What do you think is one of the most prominent myths in your line of work that remains prominent despite the evidence?
I guess it's twofold. The problem is that most people don't understand what the word brand is. They don't know what it can do for business, and they certainly don't know how to apply it. And I think that's because there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of misuse of the word brand. For example, you get a lot of people who are, say, sign makers or image consultants or commercial fit out specialists that use the word brand in their title or brand in their proposition. And by essence, what they're really doing is confusing the marketplace a lot more and diluting the use of the word. In essence, the brand is, and I've coined this phrase to make people understand, branding is where advertising stops and marketing doesn't go or doesn't reach. Simply put, it's the overarching umbrella that puts everything together. Your marketing, your communications, your product development, it all comes down with brand. What brand essentially is the visual identity of the vision that you want to take to the marketplace. That vision is, I'm in business to make profit, or I'm in business because I have a purpose or an initiative that I want to promote, or I'm in business to leave behind a legacy, something that generations to come will enjoy or take part in or utilize. So the biggest myth for me is helping people to understand the correct definition of the word brand and how you can utilize it in business. So it's very, very base level.
I really love that you tie it into business alignment as well, because I think that a lot of the time when we talk about brand, people go marketing. And you're like, no, it's not marketing.
No. Or advertising. No, it's not advertising.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, one thing that I often say, especially because I guess we probably work in a similar space where we're talking with professional service, experts or, people within those smaller to medium-sized businesses where
yes.
I feel like brand can actually sound like a really scary word because people hear brand and they're thinking like, oh, but that's what massive companies do and it's not relevant to me because I'm like a small business or something. And so one thing that I say, and I know this is probably an oversimplification, but I think it helps in some ways. I say like your brand is about your reputation because when people think about reputation, it's like that's something we learned when we were like really little, like at school, it was like all about, oh, well, what do people think of me? And also I think that we don't necessarily have as much control over brand as we think we do either, because we've got the visual identity part, which we can control. But at the end of the day, like it's also about the customer as well, right? Like what's the outside perspective? And in that sense, reputation, what's the outside perspective of how our company is being seen? That's a two-way dialogue, right? It's not one way.
Correct.
I feel like there's a lot of jargon that gets thrown around that can be really hard for businesses.
It bamboozles a lot of businesses. And I mean, you made a really interesting point there, Lauren. And no, it's not an oversimplification in terms of how you defined it as a child. As a child, we're taught about manners and behaviours and image and how to compose ourselves and behaviour and so forth. If we take those key things, behaviour, image, manners, conversation, they're basic behaviours of brands that stick in our mind that we remember time in and time out because they actively use those behaviours. They promote those activities. They do those things. And what's interesting is that now Gary Vaynerchuk is really leading this charge that, we've known for a number of years that branding has to be your sales strategy for small business moving forward. And what he's really saying is that coming into this digital age, social media has changed the business landscape. Technology has changed the business landscape. Those brands, those businesses that have traditional skills, traditional ability for reputation, and traditional abilities to start a dialogue with customers and give the customer what they want so that they see benefit repeatedly, but know how to do it in this new age context, are really going to be at the forefront. Data essentially is changing the way that we dialogue with our customers. So essentially those brands that will pick up more market share that will be here in time to come simply know how to have the right conversation with their clients. They're listening, they're acting, they're delivering. And it's as simple as that.
I love that. I love the way you kind of pull that together as well. It's great.